Special Issue Task Force. How can I help you? And back joining us in the studio for Special Issue Task Force is Hyung. Say hello to you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
It's not Christmas yet. It's not Christmas yet.
It's almost Christmas. Only 2 days away.
Almost?
And tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Do you have any plans?
Yes, we have a live special show tomorrow.
Except for that, family
No.
dinner?
By the time I get home, it's like 9.
So no
No.
other plans for Christmas Eve or Christmas?
Maybe Christmas morning,
Yeah.
the gift and stuff like that. Hyung.
But you're not going to get any Christmas gift for
Nope.
this year.
Nope.
I don't think so because you've been very mean.
I've been not
And
naughty,
Naughty.
but
Naughty boy.
but I could gift myself, and I've been gifting myself quite a bit.
Wines?
Yes. Hyung, are you? Where's your Trushin? Where are you from?
Me? 서울.
Gangnam?
서울.
Gangnam?
No, 잠실.
Oh snap! That's the secondary. That's also part of Gangnam too.
No, not Gangnam, just 잠실.
I asked ChatGPT. SJ is also from Anyang, right? As SJ, Arirang radio DJ 방송인. 경기도 안양 출신으로 본인 방송 소개에서 여러 번 차례 언급.
But you're not from
I live there.
경기도 province.
I live.
Yeah, currently living there.
가수 출신은 아니지만 not a singer,
Definitely not.
not a music program, but part of the Anyang line.
Oh.
Yes.
Are you?
And you know what the funniest thing is?
Anyang line?
By the way, I'm not even logged on to ChatGPT right now. They said SJ and
Plus
Peter Bint,
Bent?
they're kind of the same.
Peter is not going to accept that.
Peter, did you hear that?
Peter thinks he is on a different level.
No, Peter's on a different level. Peter's definitely on a different level. Anyways, Hyung, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to start with a coupon.
Oh, man.
Something we can't live
You know what?
without.
You know what? You know, was it last week? When I was kind of backing up coupon
Yeah.
or saying
You
more
said I just ordered something from coupon.
I did.
Yeah.
As she was talking, I ordered it. And I was showing support. But, as more and more things come out, I'm getting really mad.
Yeah, me too.
I'm about to boycott them.
You're about to.
Yes. I'm going to go from buying 5 things to 3 things
A week
a week.
from coupon.
So
That's almost boycotting.
that's almost boycotting. This is crazy. This issue is not dying out right now. It's
no.
escalating, if anything, right? Tell us about this.
Yeah, so controversy surrounding coupon is no longer seen as just a data breach case. It now has grown into a symbolic case about how a powerful tech platform responds when something goes seriously wrong. And the dispute now touches privacy, labor rights, fair trade, logistics regulation, and even tax issues. And that's why lawmakers decided this needs a much broader investigation. And especially after a controversial parliamentary hearing last week, which we are going to talk about more later on, lawmakers are now planning a joint hearing involving 5 parliamentary committees. It is unusual, as in Korea, a joint hearing like this is reserved for cases where a company's impact cuts across multiple areas of society. So each committee is expected to look at a different angle this time, and that includes science and ICT for personal data, fair trade regulators, transportation and logistics law, labor and environmental issues, and even tax authorities. And this shows lawmakers believe Coupang's problem is systematic, not just isolated.
No, more and more things are coming out right now in regards to the company in itself and the way that it's being operated. It's much more than the data breach.
Right.
Data breach is just part of all the issues that are wrong
Right.
with Coupang right now. But going back to that hearing, right? Many are calling this a failed or even an empty hearing because some key names, key figures that should be in the hearing said they're not going to be coming. What happened there? What went wrong?
Well, the biggest issue was who didn't show up. And Coupang's founder and chairman Kim Bum-seok, or Bum Kim, did not attend. Neither did the key executives responsible at the time of the data breach. And instead, Coupang sent 2 foreign executives who could not speak Korean at all. And that made meaningful questioning almost impossible and fueled public anger, though they were accompanied with interpreters.
But also a fluently speaking English
Lawmaker,
Lee
right?
Jun-suk,
Lee Jun-suk, who look a little bit like you, right? For many Koreans, it felt like the company was technically present but practically absent. And the language issue was especially really big here because this was not a casual meeting. Again, it was a parliamentary hearing about a massive privacy breach affecting millions. And appearing before lawmakers carries a strong expectation of accountability and respect. So for that reason, sending executives who couldn't understand the questions directly was widely seen as dismissive.
No, it's just ridiculous. I mean, lawmakers from both the ruling and opposition parties, I mean, they really expressed not even disappointment, it was anger during the hearing. So what will be different this time, though?
This time, lawmakers are moving faster and harder. They've already filed criminal complaints against executives who skipped the first hearing, and they are openly warning that additional charges are possible if executives refuse to appear again. And they're also signaling that a full parliamentary investigation with legal force is still on the table.
Another issue, this is where now I started getting upset. Okay, data breach and all that stuff. Okay, fine. It's bad. But how much? And you know what? You know what the crazy thing is? After the data breach,
What's crazy?
I keep getting phone calls.
Really?
People asking me if I'm interested in some apartment, or if I'm interested in this. I'm interested in red ginseng. I was like, no, I can't even eat red ginseng.
So your information is everywhere.
It is.
Right?
It is. That is.
Hopefully not your credit card
Well, I mean,
information.
joke's on them. There's not a lot of money in that credit card. But when the labor issue started popping up as well this past week, this is where things now,
Really
you go
triggers
into a next
outrage.
level now. And this is where public anger really deepens.
Yes, Coupang has long faced criticism over working conditions in its logistics centers, and past cases involving worker death and allegations about how the company responded are resurfacing and further fueling public outrage. According to investigative reporting by media outlets, internal messenger conversations from 2020 appear to show that Kim Bum-seok, then head of Coupang's Korea operations, gave instructions following the death of a logistics center worker who had been on prolonged overnight shifts. In those messages, Kim is reported to have instructed executives to ensure that records showing the worker worked hard would not remain, a directive widely interpreted as an attempt to minimize evidence of excessive labor. And in a separate case that same year involving the death of subcontracted worker exposed to toxic chemicals at a Coupang logistics facility, additional reports indicate that Kim's priority was to quickly shift outsourcing contracts from Coupang itself to a subsidiary company. And critics argue that this move appeared aimed at limiting legal responsibility in future incidents. And this report showed Coupang's top leadership focused on managing records and legal exposure rather than acknowledging overwork or safety failures, a perception that has sharply intensified public anger. Plus, Coupang often says it's a U.S.-listed global company, which is a fact, but over 90% of Coupang's revenue comes from South Korea. So the public reaction is, if your business depends on Korean consumers and Korean workers, you should answer to Korean society as well. And being global doesn't mean being above local responsibilities.
No, it's true. It's very, very true. And it's upsetting when the top dog of a major conglomerate is writing messages like this to basically cover up all your wrongdoings, not taking responsibility. But again, this is now spilling over into the U.S. as well, right?
Yes. Class action lawsuits have begun in the U.S., focusing on data protection failures and corporate governance. And analysts warn this could lead to significant financial and reputational damage, especially for a publicly listed company. So, in conclusion, at its core, this is about a basic question like, when a tech giant becomes essential to daily life, what kind of responsibility does it carry? And Korean society is debating where convenience ends and accountability begins. And some observers say this is even turning into a boycott against Coupang, like you said. Although our daily lives have become so deeply dependent on Coupang that a boycott would inevitably cause significant inconvenience, Koreans have repeatedly shown in the past that when a certain line is crossed, they are willing to endure that inconvenience and unite strongly to exercise their rights as consumers through boycott. So now, whether key executives finally finally appear or whether this turns into a full parliamentary investigation is something we should also continue to keep a close eye on.
If I was a company that lost out in this big race with Coupang, right? Because it was like, 11th Street, 11번가,
Right.
or like, other companies that are trying to do the same thing, but Coupang sort of dominated everything.
Yes.
I would take advantage of the situation and
Definitely.
slide in there and go, hey, you guys don't have to use Coupang. You could use us, and then start forming.
We're just as good as Coupang.
That's right. And then they're probably going to make the same mistakes, and then we look for another company, and it's another cycle again. They got to do something to change all this.
Yes.
We'll continue to talk about other major issues of the past 7 days, but first, this is 4 Minute with Hate Shida. We're back in the studio for a special issue task force with Hyung as we delve into some of the major issues of the past 7 days. And we're going to move on here. Really interesting. President Lee Jae-myung's decision to live stream ministerial briefings. This has never happened before in Korean politics.
No.
Traditionally, these meetings happen behind closed doors, and we just get news
Yes.
of what was talked about. And who really knows what exactly happens behind closed doors, right? What do they really
Right.
talk about? But now this was transparency. Let the people know what we talk about and give us your input and all things like that. But why did this move draw so much attention, and what made it feel so different this time?
Like you said, it broke with long-standing convention. In South Korea, ministerial briefings are usually closed door, carefully scripted, and rarely visible to the public. And this was the first time in history that nearly all ministry briefings, including the debates and back and forth, were broadcast live. And the administration says the goal was transparency and accountability. By finishing the briefings at the end of the year rather than early next year, the president wanted to start a new year with a clear shared understanding of policy direction. And symbolically, it also sends a message that the president himself is willing to be watched. He's very confident. And the presidential office even compared it to the idea of the panopticon, a system where power operates under constant public observation.
No, I mean, I watched...
You watched it?
I watched parts of
Yeah.
it, and there's parts where he goes off.
Yes.
He goes off. He's mad. And, there's parts where he's like, good job, right? He's not always going
Just
to be...
answer my question. Do you know it or
No.
not?
There was actually one person he went off on with that kind of question with someone that I kind of know. And it was kind of hilarious seeing this person that I've met many times go through this.
You're too talkative. Just go. Just answer my
No,
question.
he's blunt. He's blunt. He went at it, right?
Right.
Let us know how the public responded to this.
Well, among supporters, the response was largely positive, and many described it as a shockingly fresh approach, like 신선한 충격 in Korean. And viewers saw a president asking detailed, sometimes sharp questions and openly challenging vague answers from officials. And for many citizens, it created a rare sense of political efficacy, the feeling the government actually works in real time. But critics raised concerns as well. Some argued that live streaming such high-level meetings risk turning governance into performance rather than substance. And others warned that unfiltered, spontaneous remarks could also spark unnecessary controversy and distract from policy itself. For example, a comment about a disputed historical text led to criticism from academic circles, even though the presidential office later clarified that there was no endorsement.
But did it also have an impact inside the government as well, though?
Oh, yes, of course. Reports suggest that some ministries rushed to revise their presentations after watching earlier sessions because the message was clear. This president has a high bar and everyone will be judged against it publicly. So overall, through the live streams, the public was able to see in real time how policies that affect their daily lives are being prepared, debated, and implemented, and where gaps still remain. And at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, the broadcast also revealed areas of concern. So taken together, they seem to leave us with a broader question like how much transparency is productive and where does it become politically risky?
I was talking to my dad about this, and one thing that we agreed is he's a tough boss.
He is.
He's a boss that'll be hard to work with, but I always say this: the worst of the bosses are people like bosses who are dumb, but they're very active. They're the worst. They have so many things that they want
Right.
to do, but they're terrible bosses. you'd much rather have a very tough cookie, but going on the right path.
Right.
Right? And then you have to work a little bit more.
More.
But you're going
Not
on the right path.
Not a little bit more. Much more.
A lot
much
more.
A lot
but
more.
you're making things better. And so I much choose that. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's the right path.
And
so,
wrapping up the live broadcast of ministerial briefings today, President Lee himself stressed that officials should always remain mindful of the people who are ultimate holders of sovereignty, adding that the collective intelligence of the public consistently leads to the wisest answer. So maybe that was the point of this whole live streamed ministerial meetings, briefings.
you know, almost moving on here, almost like 4 years ago, when talks of the Blue House or the Cheongwade moving to Yongsan.
You remember?
I was
that
the host of Korea
moment.
Now.
Yes, you were.
And I remember I said something on air.
What
that,
did you say?
That was kind of controversial. And I said, what if the administration changes? Why probably going to go back? Why would you move? Why would you move such a historic site? Why would you move the presidential office? Because now more tax money is going to be brought back because eventually it's going to have to go back. This is a terrible idea to move.
And you were right.
And look what it is. You know, the future honorary citizen of Anyang is, right? The presidential office is physically moving back to the Cheongwade or the
Yes.
Blue House, as we sometimes call it. Let's talk about this.
So the location of power is never just symbolic. The return to the Cheongwade, the Blue House, marks the official end of the Yongsan era, just 3.5 years after it began. And President Lee Jae-myung argued that Yongsan was structurally vulnerable, especially in terms of security and surveillance. And Cheongwade, the Blue House, by contrast, has decades of built-in security infrastructure, historical symbolism, and operational stability as well. So this was also one part of his campaign promise. So starting Monday morning, official operations also got underway at Chunchu-gwan, the presidential press center, beginning with the first morning briefing delivered by Deputy Spokesperson Chun Eun-soo. And Cheongwade had been closed to the general public since August to undergo facility upgrades, and all remaining work, including environmental improvements and information and communications infrastructure, has now been completed. And as with previous administrations, the main building houses the president's office, while Yeomingwan is home to the offices of senior secretaries and presidential aides. But taking into account concerns that the physical distance between the president and key staff could be too great, a separate presidential workplace has also been set up inside Yeomingwan, similar to the arrangement during the Moon Jae-in administration.
No, I mean, it was controversial when he was moving it, right? I mean, there was actually talks coming out that, you know, the former President Yoon had gotten some info from like a shaman saying that, you know, you have to move it. But according to the former Yoon administration, wasn't the Yongsan move originally meant to reduce presidential authority? We certainly didn't see that.
Yes, the previous administration framed the move as an effort to break away from the image of an imperial presidency. But in practice, the Yongsan office became associated with controversy, security vulnerabilities, and ultimately political collapse. And critics argue that the symbolism of decentralizing power was later undermined by actions that appear to concentrate authority instead, including the use of state power in ways that raised serious concerns about democratic norms like illegally declaring martial law. And as a result, the relocation lost much of its original meaning, and that legacy has heavily shaped public perception.
Because relocations like this are funded, again, by public money, and
Right.
the cost was such a sensitive issue for many citizens because you didn't have to just move one place. You had to move all the other buildings, too, surrounding it. But how much has been spent on the move, and why has the price tag drawn so much scrutiny?
Oh, cost is a major issue here because this was not a one-time expense. From the initial relocation to Yongsan to the decision to move back to the Blue House, Cheongwade, the estimated total cost exceeds 1.4 trillion won.
That's $1 billion, guys.
Right. And what has drawn particular inspection is that more than 1 trillion won was spent just to establish the Yongsan presidential office, only for it to be abandoned after 3.5 years. So now returning to the Blue House, Cheongwade requires additional public spending, effectively asking taxpayers to pay twice for a decision that proved unsustainable. For many citizens, this has come to symbolize not just poor planning, but a significant waste of public funds.
However, does returning to the 청와대 mean going back to a closed presidency?
Well, the Lee Jae-myung administration insists it does not. They plan to maintain two-way communication systems, including live briefings. And the goal, they say, is to reclaim the space without reviving the image of secrecy and privilege. So we talked about live stream policy briefing first, and 청와대 in the second half. I believe together they show a presidency trying to redefine authority.
I mean, if you think about what, former President Yoon did as soon as he moved to Yongsan, he said he was going to communicate more with the people, and then he did the whole
like
presser thing.
doorstepping.
Yeah, but then that finished after a few sessions because he had those
After some
controversies and
controversies,
stuff like that.
yes.
And, all these years, it was always at the 청와대, and so why move, right? Anyways, we'll talk about other major issues here, but first, this is Icon singing Welcome Back.
I'm back!
Welcome back.
Welcome back, SJ, the son of Anyang.
That was
안양의 아들.
Crash over right over in Michigan says, meanwhile, our president is building a corporate-funded ballroom for no reason other than his own ego. Well, let me tell you, Crash, it's going to be a fantastic ballroom. It's going to be golden. And we're also going to be making big ships made out of gold. It's going to be fantastic. Let him be.
And celebrate Christmas together. Stop doing Trump impression.
Yang says this means a lot, which actually means that next presidential office will be in Sejong, and that's actually been a vision
Yes.
for previous administrations as well.
That's the ultimate goal.
That's right.
Relocating the presidential office to
Right.
Sejong City.
Made it up. Says serious question. If you got a Korean passport, could you run for president? You have to be born, right? You have to be. Is it naturalized? You have to be a naturalized. Because let's say, if you earned
And
the.
you have to live a certain period of time in Korea.
Yeah. So I'm not
Right.
100% sure on that. I think it might be
You're
like.
not qualified?
I'm not qualified.
Too bad. Too bad.
The terrible thing is I can't even run for U.S. presidency.
Oh.
Because it was natural. I was naturalized, so I can't. So that's that.
But your son can, right?
He can run for Korean
Aaron.
presidency, and I will block that. I will prevent them
Because
from
you know
doing
why?
any politics.
Because you've been naughty.
Yes. They dig into family backgrounds. Korean badminton players wrapped up their season with extraordinary results. We're going to talk about sports this time. What made this year so special?
Yeah, so this wasn't just a strong year, it was a record-breaking one across women's singles, men's doubles, and women's doubles. Korean players didn't just win titles, they rewrote their record books. And let's start with An Se-young, not Yoon Se-young, An Se-young. I'm so glad that we have the same name. An had one of the most dominant seasons in badminton history. She tied the all-time record for the most titles in a single season with 11 wins, a mark previously held by men's singles legend Kento Mota. And she also set a new record for the highest single season win rate at 94.8% and became the first player ever to earn over $1 million in prize money in a single season. And she did all of this at just 23 years old.
Guys,
So
maybe in
jealous
golf,
of her.
you could win $1 million with one tournament, but badminton is very, very
Yes,
different.
that's right.
This is very impressive. And the final match, I heard, was very dramatic.
Yes, it was. It really was. In the World Tour Finals, An battled not only a top-ranked Chinese opponent, but also a painful thigh injury. She limped through the final moments, visibly struggling, yet still pushed through to win the deciding point. And that image, winning while barely able to walk, left a powerful impression on fans around the world.
I still remember the last Olympics,
Oh,
right, where she
yes.
used the opportunity to win the gold medal to say things that was wrong with the Korean Badminton
That's right.
Association. But it wasn't just her. Again, it was many Koreans who dominated in the sport of badminton.
Yes, in men's doubles, 서승재.
Oh my goodness.
Not 이승재, but 서승재 and Kim Won-hyo also reached the 11 title mark this season, another historic achievement. And Seo even went a step further, recording 12 wins across different partnerships, setting a new personal and national record. And women's doubles teams also delivered, with Korean pairs securing back-to-back titles. And internationally, this season is being seen as a statement of dominance. And the Badminton World Federation itself noted that An Se-young's win rate surpassed legendary figure like Lin Dan Han and Lee Chung-wei. And that puts her and Korean badminton firmly at the center of the sport's modern history. And President Lee Jae-myung himself also praised the players, calling 2025 the year of Korean badminton. And he highlighted how the national anthem was played 3 times at the season's final event and emphasized the years of sacrifice, discipline, and self-struggle behind these victories.
Like badminton was always a sport where Koreans were good.
Yes.
But they
Are
were
you
never.
good at
No,
badminton?
yeah, I mean, as good as like all the ajashis that do the tung in the parks, right? Tung.
I think it's one of the few sports that just general public can simply learn and play and enjoy.
But then like you could do it casually, but if you go into competitive badminton, it's very, very difficult.
It is.
I actually would. Oh my goodness, who's that guy's name? There was a very successful Iongdae. When Iongdae made the headlines for the 2012 Olympics,
yes.
I bought his racket. Used it 0 times.
Really?
Use it 0 times.
Why not? It's fun.
It's
fun.
I wanted to play it, but you can't really find places to play and also find people to play.
You say you have no plans for Christmas, this year's Christmas. Why don't you just play badminton with your family, celebrating Christmas together?
With a sick wife and a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, you play badminton?
No, your mom. She's here, right?
My mom is not a badminton. She was far from any sports. But Taehyung, why do these achievements resonate so strongly in Korea?
In Korea, sports victories often represent more than medals. They symbolize endurance, discipline, and collective pride again. And seeing athletes push through pain, pressure, and expectation reflects values many Koreans recognize in everyday life. And as a season when Korean badminton didn't just compete, it set the standard. And for many fans, it was a reminder that even in difficult times, excellence built on persistence still resonates deeply.
No, again, even with An Se-young leading up to the Olympics.
Taehyungs are good.
And Seungjaes are good too, apparently. The Seungjae is good.
Seungjae and An Se-young.
No, but just again, the idea that going through, because she was not 100%, right? She went through pain. And
Thigh injury. It was pretty serious.
But when she met someone, I think it was the semifinals maybe, her opponent was going through an injury too. And so An Se-young knew what it was to fight through pain. And after An Se-young won, she just right away went to the opponent and hugged her because she knew what it was like to play with pain.
And so showing respect.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. We talked about in the intro. It's not only about how good you are, but sportsmanship.
Yes.
And An Se-young did all of that stuff, and at the young age.
Sports always give us great life lessons, right?
What sports did you play?
Badminton.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right, Taehyung, thank you so much for this fantastic stuff. Hope you have a fantastic Christmas.
Thank you.
And we will see you. We will see you maybe sooner than we think.
Maybe. Merry Christmas, everyone.
All right, sending her out of the studio. This is Aider with Queen Card.